Hello, people, and welcome back to another episode of For the Glove of the Game, presented to you by the USL Show. The love we got for the last episode with the mall night was really fun, and so we decided, hey, let's just do it again next week, and that's what we're doing. Before we get into the guest, which if you clicked on this, you already know who it is, but if for some reason you just click without looking, we'll give you a little bit of suspense. I want to just go ahead and give a quick thank you to our wonderful patrons, John Hunt, Frank Anthony, Aaron J., Christopher Cohn, Harry Austin, John Fuller, Michael Fuchs, Joshua Duder, and Noah Telford. Thank you guys for supporting us and getting early access to this episode. If you guys have not figured out, we like goalkeepers here. I like goalkeepers anyway. Other people like to score goals and like see goals go in. I love seeing when it's like 1-0. I think that's fun and someone just plays out of their mind. It's a great time. And hey, if you are someone who knows a young goalkeeper, or you are someone who, hey, has a professional goalkeeper in their life, or if you're like me who thinks that you're the best Sunday league goalkeeper alive, I don't. I got something for you. Check out primefocusgoalkeeping.com if you want to have some of the best just equipment around from one of the best people around, Brandon Miller, who he has done it all. He has won it. He has won it at the USL level, which, as we all know, is the biggest league in the world. He has won it, and he has put together an amazing crew of coaches that he says is the best in the Carolinas. I'm just going to say it, the best in the Southeast. He is top class. To put the group he's put together is top class. And hey, the gloves are great. I don't catch anything. I've said this before. I don't catch anything. I parry at best. And I was catching stuff with his gloves. So if you're looking to have someone start catching these things, hey, the latex is nice. I've played like 4 games on turf now, and I don't have any kind of wear on the gloves. It is really good latex. It's good stuff, quality stuff. But you don't care about me, but you should care about Prime Focus Goalkeeping. What you should care about is a guy who has played a long time now. And while he is young for a goalkeeper, he has a ton of experience going through a little bit of MLS Academy, going through playing some reverse stuff, reserve things, and then going from North Carolina to Miami, back to North Carolina. We got Jake McGuire. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, love seeing Cary, North Carolina behind you, by the way. Is gorgeous stadium.
It's a beautiful stadium, huh?
Yeah. You know, I kind of teased it a little bit. This is your return back to North Carolina. You were there when they self-relegated, and then they went to League One. You played for a little while, then you go over to the Miami FC, can't forget the, and then you ball out, and then you come back to North Carolina. Is it kind of indifferent, or is it weird kind of walking back into the same locker room but new people?
Yeah, it's a bit different than it was last time, and luckily for me, I mean, I think we're actually in a different locker room now. Last time we were in this locker room back here, um, and now we've switched to the other side of the stadium, so it actually feels like a whole new setup for me. But yeah, obviously these are some of the best facilities in the league, so I'm very happy to be back here and to get started with this new team.
So I kind of want to talk because the USL, more than really any other league that I can really think of, the idea of a GK1, it isn't real. It kind of is, but it isn't. It feels like every team has a 1A, 1B, and if you roll out the other goalkeeper, it's not a big deal. There's not many clubs that have a true GK1. And you kind of dealt with that down in Miami. It was you and Zaneos were just kind of trading games at the end, it felt like, and you were both great. And it was just one of those situations where it feels like in the USL, it's just sort of interchangeable at times. Going between GK2 and GK1 and kind of knowing your role, but kind of not week in, week out. How different is that than knowing, hey, when I walk in, I am the number 1 or I am the number 2?
Yeah, it was definitely a very different experience. But coming from League One, I was the clear number 1 when I was in League One, and then when I got the opportunity to play USL Championship again with the Miami FC, I knew going into it that it was going to be like the coach told me we would be treated like field players. You know, you could be on one week, you could be off another week. He's not one to keep the same goalkeeper in the entire year. So I thought that was an interesting challenge, and I accepted it and went there. And just, I think, not knowing that I was going to play every weekend or even any weekend for that first year, it was like, okay, I just need to really show myself in training and like show these guys what I'm about every single week. And then, like, one, that's going to help me get on the field, and two, it's going to help me perform when I get on the field. So not to be caught by surprise when that opportunity does come, because I do think I was rewarded for my hard work. And like, credit to the other guys, Connor Sparrow and Adrian Zendejas, like, they really pushed me a lot. I feel like I grew a lot as a goalkeeper and as a person, and working together. It wasn't exactly like, you know, you're trying to mess up the trainings or make the other guy look bad in training. Like, you have to figure out how to balance that and to work together so that, like, the team can win on the weekend. Because it's like, you want to be playing, but when the other guy's playing, you have to cheer them on as well.
Yeah, I mean, something that I think a lot of people don't think about when it comes to being goalkeeper, right? Only one of you can play. If two of you end up playing in a match, something went horribly wrong, or it's a friendly. So, you know, people don't really realize that everybody wants to be the GK1. There's every now and then somebody that comes in as like a GK3 who's like a 15, 16-year-old academy guy, or someone who's like 40 who just wants to stay in the game and is probably just like a pseudo goalkeeper coach. Yeah. And everybody's competing to be the number one. But you have to go about it in a way that if you're in training or if you're warming someone up before a game, you can't just be scoring bangers all the time, because that's not training them. That's just you trying to make them look bad, and you're a bad teammate. Yep. But you also have to do things to be noticed and be good and try to give yourself an edge. How do you balance that?
Well, the thing is, like, especially when you're warming someone up for a game, it's all about confidence. So, like, you have to give that guy confidence going into the game. And that's obviously something that's tough. But, like, when there's fans behind the goal chirping if, like, the goalkeeper drops a ball, like, maybe it was your bad service that made him drop that ball. So, like, you don't want that guy to lose confidence because of your bad service. So you still have a job to do as a number two. And even if you don't want to be there, you think you should be the number one in that moment. Like, you have to just let that go. And just, like, cheer the other guy on and just hope that you can get on the field the next week. Like, you don't hope that the other guy does bad, but you hope that you can do better than them in training in the upcoming week, and that the situation works itself out to where you get to be back out there and take your opportunity when it comes.
So whenever you're going through training, and this is stuff that I think a lot of young goalkeepers, you know, who really do listen to this program, this particular one, because everybody wants to know how to be a professional, right? When you're talking to young goalkeepers, how do you kind of balance, hey, you're going to get your chance in training, be the best, trainer that you possibly can, put on a worldie in training in the shot stopping drills, which everybody just loves to do. How do you tell them, like, hey, you're going to get your chance, just wait your time. Goalkeepers have a long career, and also understand the fact we all want game time.
Yeah. Well, I do some coaching off to the side. And I work with, like, the youth club here with NCFC. I don't really tell them whether or not they're playing, and I'm not really the one to tell them if they're going to get their chance or not. But for everybody who's listening, who's in a situation they don't know if they're playing or not, I mean, just keep training hard and just play like somebody's watching. That's what I would say, because I mean, I came up in high school. I just got, like, a really fortunate opportunity with Chivas USA with an academy team. But before that, I was with random clubs. I was playing AYSO. I was playing, like, low-level club soccer, stuff like that. But I always tried to play like there was somebody watching, somebody that mattered that was watching. And if they're at that game or at that training and they see something that they like, then they're going to approach you, or they're going to approach your parent and say, hey, like, this guy deserves a shot. And it takes one person to believe in you. And then you can get your chance. So never give up. That's what I would say to them.
So I want to kind of just move on real fast because we do have a match that we need to watch, just like we did before with them all night. Let's get into the fun stuff that goalkeepers get to do, which is wear the gloves.
Yep.
Okay. So first off, what size gloves you wear?
I am currently a size 9 glove. This is the glove that I wear. People who know me know that I've worn this glove for this particular, obviously West Coast, and then this type of glove, the Quantum Freedom Titan. I've worn this glove since my rookie year. But yeah, I wear a size 9, and it's just because I like it a little bit more tight on my hands. I used to wear like a size 10 or size 11, but I just felt like I didn't need it to be that big. It was like a little too puffy around the fingers. I would get that kind of bubble, kind of would come up if I had it a little bit too big. So I like them to be real tight.
Finger saves or no?
I started off no finger saves. And then when I was in Sweden, my second year, I came out for a ball, diving at someone's feet, and he lunged for the ball instead of jumping over me, and broke my hand. I had a spiral fracture right here in this hand. Luckily, it was stable, so I didn't need surgery or anything, but I had to put one finger save in my pinky. And then when I came back from my injury, I jammed this finger first training, and then I jammed this finger second training. So I was like, okay, finger save here, here, and here. And I was like, you know what? I might as well just put them in all of them. So now, ever since then, I've been wearing finger saves. And I think back when I was a kid, the finger saves would really restrict coming forward. And so you would get that kind of hole in the gloves, like in the front of your hand. And now I think the finger saves are so, I don't want to say high tech because they are just like plastic, but they're high tech enough that you can bend it forward and it's not going to ruin your gloves. So, and it obviously does really protect your fingers.
So I was going to ask, since you do wear finger saves, which finger is it that just gets broken all the time? Because everybody has one.
Yeah, it's my pinky. You can see here. And this you could just tell by looking at it, like it's kind of messed up, that hand. But yeah, it's this pinky. I could bend it, the side. So yeah, that's this one that is just permanently broken. And actually, ever since I've had the finger saves, I have not had any issues with jam fingers, broken hand, any of that. So yeah, shout out to the finger saves.
Yeah. I know I talked to Amal Knight from Lexington last week, and his was his left ring finger, which he said it was his sign that he probably doesn't need to get married. He said it just keeps happening to his left ring finger. I have broken my right pinky 4 times. It's only my right pinky. It's the only one that ever gets it. Don't know why. Finger saves, though. I don't know. Bizarre stuff. I want to talk about your time in Sweden because, it is an interesting move where, you're over here, you're playing with Bethlehem still, and you're getting a lot of playing time. You didn't really get much of an opportunity with Philadelphia Union. And then you go over to Sweden where you spend 2 years, but one of them was a COVID year. So like kind of 1 year and an asterisk.
Yeah.
How was that experience? A, going to Sweden, playing in the first division, B, being abroad during COVID?
Okay, so this is interesting. I don't know how long you want me to talk about this, but
Let's do it.
But yeah, let's just say my first year there, I was in a relegation battle. I was playing all the games. It was like you said, it's an interesting move to go from USL to Sweden. And I guess just to start with that is I always wanted to make a name for myself in Europe. I wanted to see what I can do. Ever since I got that opportunity with Chivas USA's academy to be linked with their first team, I made the U17 national team after a year of playing with them. And it was like ever since then that like all these opportunities came up of playing college, then playing pro. And then I just always thought to myself, hey, I just want to see what I can do in Europe. Whether I go there and I don't like it and I come back, or whether I go there, I do really well and I end up like making it to the top. So I just really wanted to see where I can go, see what I could do with my career. And so that was ultimately what made me make that decision to go over there. And to start in Sweden was because I had an old teammate of mine, good friend of mine, whose agent was interested in me and was able to help me make that move over there. So, that's kind of the gist of that. Then my first year in Sweden, played all the games and was in a relegation battle. And I mean, that was some real pressure, because you lose that last game of the season and, there's people getting fired in the back office and that. So, and it did come down to the last game. We won 1-0 in our final game.
Love that. Love a clean sheet to stay up.
Yeah, exactly. It was great because actually the team below us, they were only 1 point behind they were 3 points behind and a goal difference of like 6. And they won their game 7-1. So we would have so we would have tied that and been in like a relegation playoff game against somebody else. But that was an interesting time. And then so from there, I made a name for myself, made it up to the first division, and played, I was signed for Örebro, where they had a clear number 1 there, who had been playing there for 7 years, was in the Tottenham Academy and everything too. So he was just a great guy to learn from. And the situation was I just knew that he was on his way out and that I was going to hopefully get on the field the following year. But again, like you said, it was the COVID year. So that kind of put a monkey wrench in that deal. So, but yeah, I would say my experience over there was overall positive. I did really enjoy my time. I did really learn a lot. And COVID ended up being a huge blessing in disguise for me, because my wife was able to go over there and we didn't do the paperwork right when we got there. So she had to be like on an extended tourist visa. And then when she got her actual paperwork, they were like, oh, normally you have to go back to your home country to wait for the decision whether or not you can stay here. But because of the COVID travel restrictions, they were like, well, you can't travel right now, so you can stay in the country until the decision is made. Well, that decision takes like 18 months sometimes. And in our case, we didn't hear the decision until after my time with NCFC, the first time was over, so she would have had to be back in the States from the very beginning. And so I think COVID really helped us in that way, that she was able to stay in the country with me. And that just made things a lot easier, not having to be long distance with her. And in terms of playing, I mean, I would say I wanted to go from playing in Sweden to then play back in the States at the highest level I could. And, with COVID and all the rosters no one really wanted to release guys or pick up new guys or whatever, because they didn't know what was going to happen. So no one was really signing. And then NCFC gave me a chance. And it was, again, a huge blessing because, yes, I'm playing in League One, coming from Europe, and it's not the most ideal situation. But you know what? I just fell back in love with the game, and then decided to just work my way up again. So just tried to pick myself back up. Ended up going to Miami, came back here to North Carolina, and this is a place where I'm super happy. My wife is super happy. She has a great job. I feel really confident here with this coaching staff, with this team, that we could have this partnership for a very long time. So I think with everything, going to Sweden, COVID, playing in League One, going to Miami, coming back, all of it was just a huge blessing. So
things that people don't really think about or maybe don't even know, right, is during or in post-COVID, lower league football, lower league soccer, the goalkeeping ecosystem probably got screwed up more than any other position because teams had to kind of go cheap because they didn't know where money was going to come from. There was nobody in the stands. Ad revenue goes down. People don't want to advertise for a business that no one's going to be there for, and that makes it hard. So a lot of teams opted for one starting goalkeeper and an academy player to fill out the bench, and maybe a second academy player who they are hoping never sees the bench but is there just in case. And that's kind of how it worked really everywhere around the world that wasn't a top flight league. And you kind of saw that a little bit with North Carolina, where, you get a small suspension and then your academy goalkeeper, Nick Holiday, who has made a name for himself, comes in. He's the academy guy that most coaches while they were very confident in him, obviously, there's definitely a moment of like, man, we wish we had the senior GK2 like we would have pre and post COVID, world. And then
Yep.
he comes out and makes an absolute name for himself. When you have that academy kid behind you who who is a real talent, is there ever just kind of like looking over the shoulder, or is it just a little bit of in awe of like, man, this kid is really good for being this young?
I try to just be the person that they can look up to. I never really see it as necessarily a threat, even though it probably is, But I kind of look at it as this guy has a really good opportunity, and I have a big responsibility to help this guy succeed because, let's talk about Nick Holiday, for example, then, because I was bouncing around like every single year. I had a different team. So, why should I treat him poorly if maybe next year I'm just with another team? If I can be a positive influence on this kid and really help him develop this year, and then he's here longer than I will be, then maybe it will help this team going forward. So that's kind of how I looked at that. And we have some young guys here too now, and I look at it the same. Even though I want to be here for a long time, I still feel that I have a responsibility to facilitate their development. And yeah, I mean, you look at Nick Holiday, and now he's signed with Charlotte FC, so that's big time for him. And I couldn't be more happy for him. So
why burn bridges when you don't have to?
Exactly. The soccer world is pretty small, so
yeah. I want to go ahead. I want to just jump into film. All right, because you have more than a mall night from last week. This film is rather long because you played this. The film we're watching is Jake's match against Birmingham Legion at Protective Stadium end of the year last year, and we are going to go through, and we're going to do just like before, go through every single touch of the ball that Jake had. And the first thing we're going to get to, and right now we're just showing just kind of the kickoff, but Jake, your first touch of this match is not how anybody wants their first touch of the match to go. For people who are seeing it for the first time, a cross comes in, you go to collect, and you just get absolutely taken out by one of your defenders and you're down.
Yep.
What happened here? Was it just a communication thing? They didn't hear you, or late call? What happened?
No, that was a clear call for the ball, and Paco was trying to shield off the player. And it's just one of those things where I knew there was going to be a collision going into it, and it's either I try to grab the ball and hold on tight, or punch it away. And in that moment, I felt there's going to be contact, but I can hold on to it. And then it just turned out that the contact was more than I expected. So
when you get your legs taken out from underneath you, what's the moment? Is it like a slow-mo, this is happening to me right now, or is it just try to hold on for dear life because who knows if the refs are going to stop this?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, so like whenever this moment kind of happens, what is your kind of thought process? Are you just kind of seeing it all happen in slow-mo, or is it hold on because since this is my own player, the refs might not stop this? Like what are you trying to do?
I was just hoping that I didn't have a concussion. I was hoping that I wasn't. First thing, I'm like trying to be present in the moment and just be like, okay, is anything seriously hurt? First initial reaction was no. Okay, I got the wind knocked out of me. My head hurts a little bit, but nothing serious. So I think that was first and foremost. And I think I heard the whistle pretty quickly, or we kicked it out of play or whatever. But I figured because it was such a big collision that the whistle would be blown.
So immediately after, you're having to recover and say, I'm still alive. That's cool. And you guys early on go to play it short.
Okay.
And this is something I want to talk about because you guys sort of abandoned this, not super quick, but you guys were playing it short. But Legion this day were putting on a pretty heavy press with some pacey wingers and some guys who are, really trying to get for the ball. At what point are you saying, hey, let's, this, like short pass. Obviously, this is what the coach wants us to do, but you're seeing the press is a little heavier than we thought. Like, is that a thought process already at this point?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, it's a must-win game. I remember our pre-match talk there, where the USL actually gave us, I think, a 5% chance of making the playoffs, maybe 4%. So we really took that and we're like, that's not happening today. Like we're going to show this league that we're here to play, that we have players with the quality that can make the playoffs, even from this position. And I think that was kind of the idea going into it. So for me personally, it was like, we're going to play short until we can't play short anymore. And then like it has to be low risk because you have to protect a tie until you can possibly get a goal. And you have to also play with enough risk to where you can actually move up the field and be dangerous.
Which is where I'm kind of want to get your thought process on this first ball, because it was very obvious that from the very beginning that your left center back, left back, which I believe I think it might have been Paco in this case, or it might have been Stanley, where you guys were really trying to emphasize going down this left-hand side. There's a lot of space on the right side for your right back, but you guys are going right over to the left center back, and you guys did that a lot. Was that just a comfortability with playing with him, or was there something that the camera angle isn't seeing, and that was just where the most space was?
I think just based on our scouting report for that game, that side was going to be more dangerous for us to go up. So that was something that we had talked about before, and that was an area that we wanted to exploit. So that was really the only thought process with that.
Gotcha. And then second one, just simple, play it. Nobody's there, no pressure, it's fine.
Yeah.
This next play that ends up coming through, Benefemu has the ball, goes and plays it back to you. You have a guy who's coming on you fast, like Tabor Preston, super fast player, which you and him, not like yelling at each other, but you two had battles all night long.
Yep.
And he is on you, and you play it quickly. How do you keep your composure in that moment to not just boot the ball out or let it go off the ankle as he is just bearing down on you?
Yeah, so in that moment, I felt that they were only pressing with one, and we could possibly, bounce it from that center back to the opposite side. And I think, who do I play to? Paco there?
I do believe so.
Okay, yeah, and Paco is very good with his feet, and I mean, you could give it to him however you want, and he's going to deal with it. But obviously, try to give him a good ball. But yeah, I knew that he was capable of playing out of that. You can see they're pressing with four now, right there, and we were building with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we should be able to solve that
right
with me there too. Now, obviously, I'm not an option because I was getting pressed there, but we can play it into the midfielder and switch it if we needed to, or turn when we get the chance. So that was an area that Paco just had enough time to where when he got pressed next, that he could lift up his head and play another small one like I did.
The next ball that kind of comes to you, if I'm remembering correctly, this one doesn't actually give you any danger. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. This is the wrong one. I can't tell who it is, but left or right center back at this point, not Ben, has the ball, and you are coming out and you are making yourself an option. When you have three players who are ready to just press at you like crazy, how much guts does it take for you to call for this ball and say, I am an option here?
In this moment, it's like, I don't know what I do with it. What did I end up doing with it?
You just go long.
Oh, yeah. That was like the only thought there is like, okay, I mean, I'm just saying set me, and they're supposed to give it back to me for a one-touch ball. And if they hit it right at me, I've practiced enough to where I can just kind of block it so it goes up. Height and distance is all we're trying to go for there. And height is more important than distance on this one. That's why you see it doesn't even go. I don't even think it makes it close to half field. But the most important thing is that it gets over the press. It gets over that second line and gives us a chance to get that the knockdown.
Gotcha. This is your first save of the night. Preston comes through super fast, super technical player, and you get a split save over to your left. When you're seeing pacey winger, which is like pacey technical winger is what Birmingham Legion are. That is their whole plan of attack, or at least last year it was. You're seeing this guy come in. At what point are you thinking, do I just stay my ground? Do I try to dive for ball to push him either just out of bounds or force a mistake? Like, what is your thought process in this moment?
Thought process is I'm waiting for a big touch for an opportunity for me to come out and smother it. He doesn't do that. He was, like you said, quick enough and technical enough to where he keep it close to him. So it kind of forced me to stay on my line as long as I possibly could until I see his head go down to shoot it. Then sometimes you go into a block save, but you could see how close or that it's not necessarily close enough for a block save. You know, you can't just go default into a block. You have to just kind of hope that you can react fast enough. And there I luckily did, because the split save isn't really something that I really have in the bag. But on occasion, I can make the foot save where it looks like a split save like that.
Gotcha. This next one, ball comes to you and you have someone sprinting right at you and a full line of press. And it looks like you're going to lump it long. And that's exactly what you do at this point. And I want to just kind of look at the freeze frame if I can. You have one person on you. You have four people ready to press directly behind the initial presser. Why do you not just play it to what looks like the quote-unquote simple option, which will be Benefemu over here on the right center back side?
So I'm getting pressed from my left side. So if I play the ball to my left in that situation, it's just going to be passing off the pressure. And for me, I want to take the risk out of it in that situation where it's just going to be either I'm going long or he is, and I just skip a step and I do the long ball instead. And yes, maybe he could take a touch. Maybe he can get it back to me and we play out the other side. But again, 21 minutes into the game, I can't tell if it's 0-0 or 1-0 yet.
It is still 0-0 at this point.
0-0. You know, it's just a little bit too risky in that moment to play short, try to be too cute in the back, and then give up a cheap one. So I just thought, let's go long, live to fight another day, and we'll get them in the next one.
So from here, you get another goal kick, and you decide to play it short again over to your left center back, which I assume is Paco. Yep. And you guys work it up to the left. A simple, just played out the back. They weren't pressing you. Still stick with the game plan.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could tell in that moment they weren't pressing super high, and so they gave us a lot of space. If they decided to press, they're just wasting energy at that point. So we're happy to play out of that.
Gotcha. Here's one, and this is where I need to disclose this. People who listen to the USL show know this. I am a Birmingham fan, so I know a lot about this team, and I'm pretty sure I know the scouting report is the wings like to cut inside and shoot. Like they are quote-unquote inverted wingers, and you were under pressure with this a lot. This one, Demon Wigbo, this one does not end up going on target, but this is the first instance you have someone taking the dribble, cut inside, shoot. When you know that's the scouting report of this team is normally not going to put in the cross unless it's from a fullback, and you're waiting for the cut inside, how do you keep yourself A, from cheating, and B, like just kind of knowing exactly where to go, waiting for, you know, the ball that will likely curl back into you?
I think, staying patient is a big part of that. But the reason I was able to in this game is because every defender really put their body on the line. You can see Benefemu, how he's shaped up there. Mm-hmm. There's no way he's getting it to the near post. You could almost take a step earlier than I did. But he's covering the first half of the goal so well that I don't really need to worry about that. Like he's got that covered. And that's not always the case. So if they're like a free man, let's say take the defender out of it and he's shooting that, now I have to be a lot more patient so he can't rope it back to the near post.
Gotcha. And obviously this one goes a little bit off target, no big deal. You get the next ball, you're playing it at feet, back over to the left center back, over to Paco, playing it out. This is one of the first, I think, or this is the second big save you get, and this one is played over up top, and you go down, collect the ball in between the legs.
Yeah.
A couple of questions, because you do this several times where you obviously have the quote unquote K save in the bag. I've seen you do it, but I've noticed there's been a trend of getting away from the goalkeeper diving in at the feet and taking the ball away at the foot, as opposed to just going straight K save. At what point do you decide I'm diving in at the feet? And second part to that, when you catch it between the legs, is it just like, oh my God?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll be honest. Obviously, it's a lucky save that I catch it with my legs. That's not obviously the plan. So I would say, like, I was just hoping to. I was trying to make myself as big as possible, and I was, because he was kind of running. You could see how he runs off to the field to my near post. That he could maybe take a quick little touch and then try and get around me. Like you said, quick technical player. Maybe that's too hard to do in that moment, but that's what I'm thinking about, is that he could hit this first time, or he can take a little tiny touch and go. So I had to make sure that he was going to take that shot when he did, and just make myself as big as possible. And, sometimes you get lucky and you catch it with your legs. So
it's all about being in the right position, right?
We'll take it.
Here's another one, kind of curls back to in, and you come and catch. This one's an interesting one, which this is a ball that I think is hard for especially a lot of young goalkeepers, because there's so many times that a coach or other players will just be yelling, keep, like come and get it. But there's also moments where you could sit here and say, this ball's right at your forehead. You get it out. Why did you decide to come out and collect this one?
Can you play that clip real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just on the front foot there. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking be aggressive, because you don't want there to be any kind of knockdowns in and around the box with this team. Birmingham was a very dangerous team last year, and we knew that going into it. So I just thought I need to help out my center backs as much as I possibly can. Yes, they're good headers of the ball. They can get it to a good area for us to go and defend again. But if I can come and claim it, then it's going to make our lives a lot easier today. So I think that was just me having an aggressive mindset, but not being so aggressive to where I'm leaving my line early and exposing the goal.
And then from here, you kind of take the space that's given, still down the left-hand side. You roll it out, take the space.
Yep.
Okay. From here, it kind of goes up, and I don't really – why is this going so long? Because this ball comes right back to you and you just boot it long. Yeah. And this is the one I'm interested – this is one of the moments that I really started noticing that the thought process changed. It was around this time, around 30 minutes in, where you had options to play it short. You had options over here on the far right side. Granted, player there that's coming in and filling the space, but it was still there.
Yeah.
Why did you boot this one?
The midfielder, like if you look at my right back there, is that Telfer? I think that's so. And you see that there's a person that's going to press him that way. If I play it out wide in our midfielders, Bolu is so far away from the ball that just wouldn't be the right pass. It would just be, again, passing off the pressure to my defender. And because we just tried to build, it didn't work out. Now we're getting pressed again. Why take a risk again? Let's just hit that thing up the field and live to fight another day, like I said before.
Fair enough. This one comes back to you right at your feet. You get pressed. You go where, to me, it looks like where the space is, but it looks like your midfielder just kind of misjudged the fly of the ball, went in for it, didn't think it was going to go as far as it did.
Yeah.
Because whenever a team presses, they're leaving space somewhere.
Yep.
And it looks like you read that pretty well, went right over. Well, this is the previous clip, but this one goes back to you. You're reading where the space would be. The ball goes through, and just kind of a misreading the ball. That kind of just what you saw there. You were getting pressed and you saw space.
Yeah, exactly. Just like kind of get it out of there and give it to an area of the field that I feel like we have a good chance of winning the second balls.
Cool. All right, this one comes back to your hands, and you have a decision. You could roll it. Where you do. You end up going to Ben, who I think at this point had already scored, and you guys were up 1-0. I guess I could check that. But then this ball comes back to you, and you're under a little bit of pressure, not really heavy, and you spray it out to the middle of the field. Again, you have an sort of an option. Is this still the same thing of you just be passing on pressure, and why do that?
Yeah, I do feel like maybe I could have hit a hard left-footed pass into Paco there, and I think I tried to go wide with this one, and it ended up going too central. So a little bit of a mishit from me, but I mean, I think it ended up working out anyways.
I mean, it did. Spoiler, clean sheet in this one. This one comes in hard to you. You boot it out. Enzo's on you. Just don't deal with it.
Yep. Didn't want to take any risks there.
This one, now, this is an interesting play, and I want to finish watching this one, you get a nice, just easy little save that just kind of rolled into you. I'm not sure if it's going to show the replay. I remember most of this, but not all of it.
Yeah.
So this one, the center back is up here at the top of the box.
Yep.
Obviously, it's hard to read that in the moment. You can't just say, "Oh, center back has the ball, no big deal." But you have center back with the ball. He lays it off, and you saw earlier this same player decide to cut inside for the ball. Is this kind of where your thought process is? Like, this guy cuts inside, I can take another step and wait a second? Because it looks like you're already just waiting for him to do it, as opposed to him having the space up this left-hand side that he could take.
Yeah, I think I can still get to that post on my right side if I need to. And again, I thought the defender did a good job blocking off one part of the goal, and just the way that the attacker's body shape, I thought he was under enough pressure to where he was going to go where he was showing me. And I think I moved my feet pretty well and just take this one for a smother, but it could have easily been a diving save to my left. But I just attacked it and yeah, took it down. So
cool. Yeah. From here, just kind of go long, high and far. That was like, it was obviously the goal, high and far. You get another ball here, free kick. No one's around you. Your only option is to go high and far. Simple.
Yep. And now that we're winning, I think at this point it's clear that we're winning. So I'm like, let's do anything we can to secure this 1-0 win. And so in my mind, it's a lot less risk, and only play out when it's really on.
So this ball comes in from a little bit deeper position. Come on, get to the clip. And this one comes in, and header from your own player. You jump up, collect it. No pressure, really. Super simple. And you're telling everybody to get up. You're winning. Why mess with it?
Yep. And if you look at the time, it's 43 minutes in. We're not too long away from halftime. So let's just waste as much time as we can here, get to that halftime whistle, and then figure out our second half game plan.
This ball comes to you, and you're under pressure again, and you just don't do it there. And I don't think you even had an option on this one. I don't think there's anybody there.
I could maybe have taken a touch, but I just, it was rolling in nice, so I just thought I'd hit it first time.
Why not? Another long ball, and this one. Now this is a fun angle. Thank you, down in front, sports or video Birmingham, because we don't get to see this angle a whole lot, where we get to kind of see your point of view. Everybody's up. You're no longer playing it short. From this angle, what are you looking for a specific person, or are you just looking for the biggest cluster of Miami?
So, I mean, now that I'm not in Miami, I guess I could say what I was doing, but we were always trying to get it as close to the touchline as possible, so that we could flick it on. So that was the idea. Personally, I like to play it a little bit more central than that, like play it into that channel. But I can't really see where that one went.
That went right to the touchline, trying to flick it on.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of what we were trying to do all season. Actually, both years I was there, and that was a little bit new for me. But I mean, obviously, just trying to do what the coaches were asking me to do, and I think I did it there. So
you get halftime. You faced 3 shots. Couple of them technically were not on target, so you really kind of went for 4 of these. You guys had possession, but you were under constant pressure. And this second half is where you just went nut job. And this first one, the ball comes in right to you, and you decide you've kind of fake it out, rolling it over, and then you go over to the right.
Yep.
Why did you decide to go away? Why did you not just play it right over here to Paco, or not Paco? I think it was Stanley at this point who was playing over there to that left-hand side when he had space.
I usually do that little pump fake to see what the defenders are going to do, and I will, if they do that little step like they're anticipating it, then I won't play it like I did there, and if they don't, kind of show that they're going to be aggressive, then I'll play it. So
and then you get the ball back from Ben. You played over to Paco Craig. Just take the space that was given. Yeah. From here, you get another one that comes back. A little bit of a dribbler, but you still get height on the ball. This one makes it a little bit closer, but no one really is there. And then the penalty happens.
Yep.
And ticky-tacky, I don't think it was a pen, but I'm not a ref. And from here, I want to just kind of talk about your thought process, your personal research, because I know what I have seen, but I kind of want to know what you had done the research at this point, if you're allowed to share that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to give away my secrets, but in this game, it's just so happened that last year, well, not this past year, but the year before this penalty happened, I had a penalty saved against Birmingham as well at home in Miami, and I ended up catching that one as well against Agudelo.
Yep.
And surprise, surprise, he was not taking it here. So I figured it was going to be either Agudelo or Enzo taking it. I'd been watching penalties before, and just kind of based on the trends, I saw that there were kind of a couple places that he would go. And when I saw Agudelo approach him, I thought maybe he said, this guy stays in the middle. So then the only other option was to go to a side, and that's the one that I chose. So I got lucky with the catch again. I was just trying to get there as quick as possible because he has a hard shot. And again, after this save, I just felt like nothing was going in today.
Yeah, I mean, hey, is there any cooler feeling than just catching a penalty? Like,
it was, that was a great feeling. That was a great feeling.
So
I would say I definitely had confidence from the year before catching a penalty against the same team. So, I mean, even though I didn't have the upper hand in this case, like I felt like I did. It was just a confidence thing.
So from here, you end up going down to your right. Enzo strikes it hard, strikes it well. You catch it, and you hold on to it for a minute, and it's just a great save. And I'm going to just go ahead and throw out here. I don't think this is even close to your best save of the night.
Thank you.
Ridiculous night, but you catch it, and what you did here was different than what we saw with the Maul last week. Before he goes to save, he's doing jumping jacks. He said himself he's not really a talker. He doesn't like to chat too much, but he's doing jumping jacks. He's making himself big. You are just eyes on ball, nothing there. Is that just kind of your own approach? Just keep yourself calm?
Yeah, I do have a couple approaches to penalties, but that's something I don't really want to share. So
fair enough.
Maybe when my career's said and done, then I will tell everybody what I did. But penalties are kind of my thing, so I'm gonna hold that one to myself.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, yeah, several videos of this, just fantastic. Love catching a pen. You get another ball, and this one's Preston coming in, and you make a nice little kick save, and you get up, and you are just letting them know, not him, but just everybody know. And it is, kick saves are stuff, and you mentioned that the split save is not something that's really in your locker, but you kind of get over there, you stay big, and you get the foot out.
Yep.
From what did you see that keep yourself? Because before we saw you go against Preston and you went at the feet, just try to get the ball. Why did you stay big here and didn't, dive in?
In this case, I felt like because he's on the side of the goal, if I dive at his feet, it's pretty easy to lift it over my body. And you see a lot of those types of reps in training. So I thought if I stayed big, if he tries to chip, I hold it. If he tries the hard one low to the far post, it goes off my leg. And I really don't know what else is available there. So I'm just trying to cover all the, major parts of the goal that I think are exposed.
Gotcha. From here, your bench is chirping him pretty hard. He gets a yellow card. That's always fun. But you have a corner come in, and you face a few corners, but not a whole lot. But this one is interesting because this one falls at the front of the 6-yard box. No one's really there. I've heard a lot of youth coaches in the past that basically says if it's in the 6 yards, it's yours, and tell keepers no matter what, kind of go for it. But this one falls right at the front 6-yard box. I think there's a lot of coaches that would say this is your ball. Why did you not go to it?
Can you play the clip? Because I can't really see where the ball lands there. Does it land inside the 6 on the far post?
It lands on the 6-yard line in front of the far post.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you can see the cluster of players on the near post, so I'm thinking to be aggressive in that area. But if I'm just going to go out and maybe 60-40 out of my favor, going to get a touch on it, I'm not going to go, because I think just slapping at it or getting a little touch on it isn't going to be enough. Where, again, if I miss that ball, like, it's just an easy header, can just trickle into the goal. Nobody's really back on the goal line. You can see behind me. So it's kind of a situational thing where all the numbers are at the near post. And if there's, this one guy gets a chance from this, like, I'm in a good enough spot where I can make myself big again. Kind of depending on my reactions there, rather than coming out. But I thought that's what needed to be done in that moment.
From here, you have Prosper who goes out, and then this ball gets laid off. Now, I think you get a touch on this, or maybe it goes high. It might not have been on target. Dealing with long shots.
Yeah.
I always find personally this to be the hardest one, because yes, you have the most time to react to it, but also it gives the person who's striking the ball the most time to get it to do what they want. If they want to get a good curler, it has more space to do that.
Yep.
What, from this situation, you see the guy running in who's almost certainly going to take a shot. What is your mindset before you see it?
Be able to see the ball, number one. And then recognize the part of the goal that you're giving up. If you're trying to see around a player, for example, in this case, it looks like I could see everything. It looks like I don't have anybody obstructing my view. But if I did have somebody obstructing my view, I would think I'm leaving up. Let's say I'm leaving the left side of my goal. So now I'm going to be leaning a little bit to my left, knowing that I'm giving that side of the goal up, and knowing I can still get back to that right side. But in this moment, I see he's going for power. I could be a couple more yards up if I'm being hard on myself there. I could probably be another yard forward, just because it's coming in with power and pace. It'll just make the save easier, but this one just ends up going over. So,
yeah, I mean, you give it a dive because you never know. But, I mean, that was always one I'm interested in, because those long shots, you just kind of never know. Yeah. This one, you get a ball back to you, play it over. Nice and simple. Play it into space. Is there anything else with this one? Is there? Okay, cool.
No.
This one comes back to you. You have a lot of time, but you see Preston raise his hands, telling everybody get up, and he is getting into a full sprint.
Yep.
From here, you take a step back and you go long. He's lunging at your foot, or like he has his foot up to try to block anything you have. What is your goal whenever you see strikers making themselves big, trying to get a touch on anything?
Well, first off, I didn't think he was going to get that close to me, So, I mean, I think on a different day, we're up a goal. We could probably play out of this. I could probably play a short, even though, because he's running fast at me. I could probably just play a short to my right and then bounce it back to the man he left. But again, we're winning. We're up a goal. We in a must-win game for us to still have a chance at the playoffs. And I'm just thinking, get it as far down the field as I can. And I don't know. I've always just you could kind of feel where the attacker is at. Like you could just there's a presence about them where it's like, okay, I have this internal time clock of, let's say, 2 seconds. Like once I touch it, I got 2 seconds, pick my spot, play it. And this one, he gets pretty close to it, but I wasn't really worried about it.
Cool. Here's another shot, or a deflection comes in and you come and collect. You're kind of going for it with Juan Agudelo. At this point, whenever you're kind of going for the ball, like a contested header ball, the clip could get over. What are you kind of looking for? Is it just go for it no matter what? Or is it, hey, my center backs, I trust them, they can win the header?
So this one, what does it do? It pops straight up in the air?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I came up. Yeah. So that one, it looked like, I don't know if he mishit it or if it took a deflection to get that much height on the ball, but
deflection.
Okay. Yeah. Then I just saw it go up high in the air. And again, I had that aggressive mindset in this game to go and help out the center backs. And I mean, again, like you said, or like I said earlier, like these guys are really dangerous in the box. So if there's any knockdowns in the box, like they're gonna get a good chance out of it. So that one I was just real aggressive off my line, and it went high enough to where I had plenty of space where you could go out thinking punch, and if you don't punch it, you can. And if you're like, oh wow, I have a lot of time, then you could switch. You could switch your hands to a catch.
Gotcha.
And both of those would have been good in that situation.
There, you drop the ball, go to boot it long. Not bad. And then another goal kick. Instead of playing short, you go long. The same kind of idea we talked about. You go to the touch line, try to get a flick on. Kind of works, kind of didn't. This free kick is interesting because these free kicks, you're not worried about the shot. It's always the header afterward.
Yep.
In the sense, it's a wide and like kind of vertical angle corner
Yeah.
because they're not going to score from there. And if they do, there's probably nothing you could have done. It could have done because it's a world, just an absolute worldie.
Yeah.
This ball comes in. What are you doing in these situations?
Yeah, I could talk you through that. So I want his service to be as close to that top of the box as possible, to where he's almost serving it into the D. So my position, you can't see it in that frame right there, but I'm probably on top of my 6, maybe straddling the 6 with both legs. Yeah, you can see just maybe one step inside the 6, but that's mainly to make them kick it further away from me, because I'm out that far and I'm thinking aggressive, but I'm not giving up the goal so much to where if you decide to shoot that, you're just wasting the entire chance. So I almost, I'm so far out that I would hope that they try to shoot that, just because it'll waste their opportunity. That guy will get chirped at by his own team, and it'll cause some chaos between, their own group.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's really interesting to hear, especially, it is such a low chance shot that there's no point in really trying to defend that shot too much.
Right.
You get another ball in, and it's just one straight to you. Another winger who cuts inside, cuts it in right to you. This one you saw pretty well through all the space, so
Yeah.
I guess you just had a good vision on it.
Yep, and again, it was more on the front foot. It could have been a diving save, but I was just on the front foot, expecting kind of a cross in that situation. So I was on the front foot, and it ended up being a shot, so I caught it at my chest.
And here is probably your best save of the day. This one goes through to Nico Brett. You're at the top of the box, and you get through, and you go down and just get a palm to it.
Yeah.
And you are going nuts.
Yeah, to say the least, for sure. That was just one of those moments where it was like, okay. I was hoping to get there first. This guy's real fast, got around my defender. Now I need to make a play and not get a red card. So I was like, let's let him take the touch, and I'll just give it my best shot at getting my hand down there. And it's one of those saves that surprised me. Like I just threw my hand down there, and luckily it was like right at the time he was kicking it. And you could see I got really pumped up, because it's just one of those where it's like I felt during the penalty that nothing was going in, and you can imagine how I felt after that one too.
I think there's a lot of fans who probably in real time thought there's no way he got ball. He had to have gotten foot here. And you go down, and you're from here, there's no world where you should save this.
Yeah.
You are behind him. You are, if he gets the trigger off a little bit faster, he's already shooting.
Yep.
And you get down and you just get the palm to it.
Yep.
It's hard to train those specific situations. It's just instinct at that point.
That was purely instinct. In training, I don't even know if I'm going that hard at the ball, but because of the circumstances in the game, up a goal, need to make playoffs. I've had a really good game so far. I can't get scored on like this. A little bit of ego in there, I guess. So I just tried to give it everything I got, and ended up making the save.
We're going to try to get through these next few clips pretty fast because we're running up on the hour mark. But you get a shot that kind of comes in, and this is where I say one of the two, because the one that you had on Nico was great. This one comes through space. You get a strong palm to it. Your defense is able to deal with the scraps.
Yep.
Through traffic, and getting the strong palm to not let it just fall weakly to the person in the box. What are you seeing? How late did you see it? And like, what's happening?
So I like that you froze it right there. You could see that I'm between bodies. But again, you could see there that I think that's Aiden Stanley, who's getting really close to the ball. And after the game, like everyone was telling me, great game, like really good game, Jake. And I'm thinking like, no, like my defenders made these saves possible for me with their positioning. So like, again, you looked at Aiden Stanley there. He's blocking off the entire left side of the goal. I can almost lean to my right, but not cheat. So it's like I have a very strong feeling that this is going to go to my right, and it allows me to make that save. So I think it's the positioning of the defenders in that moment that they are just in the perfect spot where the only place he could go is to my right.
And just strong palm. I mean, the one thing I noticed is that, and maybe it's just the way that the film kind of looks. It looks like you don't even have like open palm out. It looks like you were just going straight up fist to just try to push it.
I think that actually went off my forearm. I'm not entirely sure. I think it did go off my forearm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just won those games. I mean, ridiculous. Yeah. And there's still 15 minutes to go. You're still under a little bit of pressure. This one comes to the top of the box. This one's played through, and you got a small touch on this one. I don't know if it was going in, but you did get a small touch. They were awarded a corner later.
Yeah. Was that? Could you go back? Was that?
Enzo that was Enzo.
Oh yeah, that went off my head.
Off your head?
Yeah, it was. It went straight off my forehead. And again, that's one of those moments where I'm just like, okay, he's got the whole goal to shoot at. He's just going to hit as hard as he can. Arms out, be big, and it hits me straight in my head, and I fall straight back, and just watch it go over the goal. You know, and I just thought it's just one of those games. Nothing is going to go in today.
You're Scott Sterling.
Yeah, yeah, Scott Sterling. That's a great example.
I did not realize. I thought it went off like a fingertip. I didn't think it hit you in the forehead.
No, it was straight, square in the forehead.
This ball comes out a little bit wide. You were able to catch it. I think it took a small deflection. You were able to catch this. I think anyway, it kind of looks like it, and you're able to keep it in and go from there. You know what? Whenever you're trying to catch a ball, especially one hit at pace, what is your go-to? I know everybody kind of teaches like the W or like the diamond shapes, you know, like what for you, what is it? Like, what are you going for?
Okay. So I guess it's for the younger audience then. So I would say if I could do a chest catch, I would probably do the chest catch, you know, like let it come into my chest and be a basket because, you know, the ball could slip through your hands, but there's no way it's slipping through your chest, you know, there's no way to do that. So I think that's if you can basket catch, then basket catch. And then when it comes to diamond or W, I'm more just I guess thinking about it now, it's more of a W, but it's about getting as much surface area behind the ball without trying to squeeze the ball. So I'm actually trying to just let the ball come in and cushion it and kind of match the ball's speed, I guess you could say. And that helps me catch the faster ones, especially when it's either really wet or really dry and there's not a lot of grip on the gloves.
Cool. All right. I think this one, you just kind of get him to move out, clear out the space, and just go throw it through. Nice and simple over to the right back. This one, under pressure, this one's played to you. Again, this one is a booted, and it ends up going to a really good place. I got to know, was that on purpose?
Honestly, I can't really see it right now. It's a little pixelized there, but yeah, that's what I was going for right there.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Cause he's coming at me quick. I'm just trying to switch the play. It probably ended up a little bit better than I expected, but that was my intended target at least.
Perfect. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, I've done that a lot of times and never on purpose.
Yeah.
This one, another kind of ball that comes through and you just kind of safely collect, killing some time. So, and no, I guess I'm waiting for you to play it. And you're wearing the same gloves that you showed us earlier.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly. And I'll hopefully be wearing those for a long, long time.
This one goes down, boot it long, deal with it.
Exactly.
Let's see.
Now all my distribution is probably going to be long. Just kind of see the game out at this point.
Love that. From here, this one's top of the box. You have a shot coming to you, took a small deflection, goes away. This ball comes back in for a cross. This one's headed away. Just overall chaos in the box. You're kind of having to stay your line. This one goes through, and it's just a wonderful ball that you save, and then Enzo skies it. This is one where I'm going to try to get back to a good place to freeze frame here. But Tyler Pasher comes through, makes a good run, is in a fantastic position all by himself. And you just kind of make yourself big, sort of a K shape almost. And then it hits you, goes over.
Yeah.
At this point, where are you?
Say that again.
So like at this point, what is like what are you trying to do in this ball?
Hopefully I was trying to get that. Well, initially I was trying to get there first. Once you realize you're not going to get there first, now you just kind of hold your ground, stand your ground where you're at, and just like you said, try and make yourself big. He had just come on; he had fresh legs against our tired defenders, and I knew I had to come up big again. And I got lucky with this one. I think it came off like the outside of my shoulder or something. And then you can see I'm way outside of the goal. I have no chance. But once again, my defender's in a fantastic spot to make him rush his shot. And make him feel the pressure. Like if everyone around the ball is not making those efforts, like that's probably a goal that Enzo buries, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a fantastic save. Yeah, off the outside shoulder, goes wide, and yeah, you are just feeling yourself, and it's incredible to watch. You get another one that just kind of bounces straight to you, and this is the last like the in-depth question I have. Okay. Turf is so different than grass. At this point, you are not, you are 85, 86 minutes in, yep. But turf is so different than grass to the point that if you, because you guys practice, or you were at Miami at the time, so you were on turf fields a lot. But even then, like if you're going from North Carolina where you practice on grass and you kind of go back to those instincts, you might read this wrong and it goes underneath you.
Let's see. It goes low and it bounces right in front of me. I had a really unique situation in Sweden with the turf out there. There was a little bit of a problem with I'm not going to say which club it was, but they left the water running kind of by the field, and it kind of flooded the entire 6 and made the 6 really wavy. So you didn't know when a ball like that would come in, if it was going to bounce straight up over your head, if it was going to roll, if it was going to bounce true. So that year I got a lot of reps on bounces that weren't true, and how to position my body to not get, not let something like that go in. But yeah, you are right. I mean, the grass is very different than turf. On grass, that's going to skip a lot lower. And on turf, it's going to bounce a little bit higher. But both of them, you just have to get your elbows in, tight to each other, not touching, obviously, and just kind of a basket catch. Like I said, I think the basket catch is the safest save. So anytime you can get yourself in a position to make that, whether it's a front smother or a hard shot straight at you in the air, that's going to be the most secure.
From here, you're just telling everybody, get up, waste that time, put it on the floor, play it long. It's rinse and repeat. I think I've said that several times at this point. Another good shot that comes through, it goes right to your feet. No big deal. You are wasting time and you pick up at the last moment. Just kind of buying those few extra seconds and you're waiting to decide to pick up. Are you just waiting for a literal distance, or is there something that you're seeing in the outfield to say, pick it up and distribute now?
You're saying when I'm actually wasting the time dribbling into a corner. I am just making sure that it's just a risk reward type thing. You're going to waste as much time as you can, where it's just like, okay, you don't want him to get too close, where now he's going to try to lunge at you and potentially get the ball or injure you. So it's like right before he's going to lunge is when I try to take it up.
Gotcha. And beat it long. Like you said, at this point, there's low chance of us seeing anything besides boot it long. This one comes back to you. Nico's coming on at you. Big touch. Fine. Get it out. That one, no real pressure to you. This is the last real moment for you. You come in, collect. Not a big deal. Smother it.
Yeah.
If I remember right, you kind of, or is this the right one? You get it and you play it long. I thought there was another one where you sort of threw it quicker than I thought you would, but easy smother, get it out.
Yeah. If you see me do that, it's mostly because one of my teammates is very adamant about wanting the ball in that moment. So I'll give it to them in that moment just because I need to see what they're seeing. So I need, it might be a little risky to me, but if they see something I don't, then I got to give them that opportunity.
I think this is it. Like we are 50 seconds away from full time. You guys are up 2-0, and you just instantly throw it. Everything about that feels like it should be wrong, but you played in good space. You played in a good space, good ball. Is this a situation where he was calling for it, saying, I have space, let me get 3?
Yeah, and now I can see now that you show me this, like if you look at the time, it says 95, and we're at what does it say? +4 there?
6.
+6. So I'm trying to get us to the corner. If he can take that ball, even though I'm releasing it quick, he's going to waste a lot more time by getting to the corner flag than I can just holding it for 10 seconds.
Gotcha.
Plus, they'll have to build up all the way back to our goal. So,
and then rightfully so, the ball ends at your feet, full-time whistle. Man, it was an unreal match. When I went back to cut this, I mean, I remember watching it live and just thinking, like, it's an insane performance. I went back and watched it again, and I could not believe the night that you were having. And it started off with you being cleared out, and I thought you died.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I appreciate you bringing this game up and talking about it in depth. It's one of the best games of my career. Definitely the best game in my career. I can't hide from that. But yeah, I really appreciate you picking my brain about this game.
And then I think after that, you had another match where you guys, like, you get another clean sheet 2-0 against Hartford, and then you 2-1 against Charleston, and then you played a great match against Sacramento Republic in the year. It was a 1-0 loss, but it was still a great match by you. This match really was a catalyst for you to end with 4 really good games, 3 wins and only 1 loss. Obviously, you talked about the playoffs. The only reason not the only reason, as you mentioned, your defenders were playing great, but you were a main reason why you guys were still in the conversation at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really huge compliment to be, the guy that showed out that night, because that's not normally a goalkeeper's role of being like the star on the night. And I mean, I hope I'm not sounding like I'm bragging about this game, but I really did feel like it was a good game for me. But again, I could not have done it without the guys that were in front of me.
I mean, why not brag about it? You only get one of those kind of matches in a career, and not many people get a professional career at all. So why not brag about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to look at it, but yeah, I really do feel like I would not have made all those saves without the defenders being where they were at in that game.
Kind of last question before I let you go. You're back in North Carolina, and you guys have made the jump back to the championship. You won promotion in a weird way.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of want to know, because this is personal opinion time, and we talked about it on the show with John Morrissey, Phil Bakke, all the rest of the guys. While other teams have had impressive off seasons, I think that North Carolina has had one of the most underrated, and I just think outright best offseason of anybody in the league. And I think you guys are real title contenders, despite coming from League One last year. When you guys are in training, when you guys are just going at each other all day, are you seeing a real jump in talent from the last time you were there?
Oh, 100%. And I will say I'm pleasantly surprised with how well the League One guys are adjusting to this level. I think they've shown that they can play at this level. They can really compete at this level. And like you said, with the pieces that we've added, plus the guys that we already have, I think we have a really good chance this season of making the playoffs and then making a run in the playoffs.
Hey, do you have anything that you would like to say, either to some young goalkeepers watching this on their, like, how to get a career going, or just the North Carolina fans who are listening to this and just kind of want to know about their old but new GK1?
To the young goalkeepers, I know a lot of people when I was growing up would say to make it pro, it's all about who you know. So, and then maybe that's part of the case, but for me, it's all about who you meet. So, I mean, yes, it's going to take that. Like I said, you never know who's going to be watching your games. It's going to take that one person that's watching you to give you that opportunity that you need and make a good first impression. And then to the North Carolina FC fans, I'm extremely happy to be back. Feels like home for me. So I hope that we could do something special here. Beautiful.
Well, listen, Jake, I hope that somehow you have a better match than that one. I just wish you would start doing it against a different team. That would really appreciate that personally. But it's nice talking to you, and cannot wait to see what you do this year, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
And to everybody, thank you so much for watching. We were blown away by the support it got. Thank you for doing this for the glove of the game. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back soon. Appreciate it.